Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to be showing the Kawai MP9000 professional stage piano. This is my main piano. If you've watched any of the videos I've placed on YouTube, you'll see that this is the one I'm using. I occasionally do use a Roland JB35 also, but this is pretty much the one I'm using all the time. Fully weighted keys, 88 keys in this particular model. I bought this back in 2003. Chris Martin actually uses this for a lot of the Coldplay songs. If you've actually watched some of the earlier Coldplay concerts, you'll see this particular model at some point in the concert. In later years, apparently he took the module out of the inside of this and used that on a rack and uses it basically as a MIDI in and plays through it, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to start off by showing you the basics of the control panel, the instruments, and some of the advanced features of this particular machine. So the basics of this are master volume over here. You've got your primary and secondary, or what's called in this the upper and lower instruments. So if at the moment there's only one selected, is the upper. If I select both, I can actually give more volume to the concert grand and reduce the volume on the mellow grand, or increase the mellow grand, decrease the concert grand. So quite basic controls when you look at what's available on machines at the moment. Effects are available. You can change the rate and the depth, and the same for the reverb. You can change the reverb and time and depth on those. You've got a full EQ available to you. I have mine set quite high. I like the brightness on this particular keyboard. And then you can change the cut. So if you've got something like strings and you want to make those strings come in a bit slower, you can change the attack and make them slowly come in, and the more attack you give it, slower it comes in. If you increase that below 0, it comes in straight away. So you can obviously have your effects turned on or off. And then here we have your instrument selection. So there's 16 different instruments here, and you also have the voicing. You can change it to normal, you can get mellow, dynamic and bright. So technically you have a few variations of those. They're quite subtle. I do like the dynamic and bright. They do play well. And the instruments, as regards the instruments, there's two main pianos I like: concert grand, studio grand. Then there's mellow grand. Modern piano I don't particularly like, and the rock piano is a bit harsh, but probably would be suited something like more of a rocky feel, as described as the tone. 3 EPs which are actually quite good. The first one is like a 70s one. Then there's like a DX7 style FM synth piano, and then we have more of a hammer action EP. So I'm going to just demonstrate some of these instruments in a second. So the first piano is the concert grand, and as I said, that's probably one of the instruments I use quite a lot, that and the studio grand, and they're really beautiful pianos, and this is just a sample of what you can get from the concert grand. So as you can hear, beautiful tone on that. I think the studio grand is quite nice because it does have that really nice depth, at the same as the concert grand, but it just has a bit of extra kind of a modern sound to it, like the type of sound you would hear on more modern records. So just have a listen to this and see what you think of this. So that's the studio grand. I think it lends itself to certain songs, and you kind of feel that as you would play it. Mellow grand, I'm not really. It's a bit soft for me. To me, it's a bit too dull. I don't really particularly like that one. Modern piano I do like. It's not too bad at all. Has a nice bright quality to it. Doesn't have very much depth. As I said, the rock piano is probably more. But definitely the EPs are worth listening to because they do have a beautiful range. As I said to you, this is probably the 70s one. Then we have the EP, which sounds very like one of the FM synthesis pianos from something like a DX7, and it's quite a nice tone in this one. And you can modulate that, and you can hear the changes. Then the final EP or electric piano that's on that is more of a hammer action. You can hear the hammer played, so you can just listen to this and see what you think of this. So definitely the first two are my favourites. The third one often I use in conjunction with the first to give the 70s style with a kind of a hammer action as well. So now onto the organs. We've got two organs. There's kind of a jazz organ. And then we have probably a brighter organ, I would call it. It's hard to describe what these organs are, but they're you have the usual clav on the kind of a clavichord. Usual, not really something you would ever use. Same for this. I've never used them. Strings, the strings on this are actually quite good. There's like obviously unfortunately there is only one string. You don't have like other keyboards, you've got Hollywood strings or orchestral strings. It's just simply strings is all you have. Quite basic, but if you fill it out with a bit of effect, add a bit of low and take away the top end on the equalizer, and maybe bring it in a bit faster. So you can, if you play around with it, you can actually get a decent sound on the strings. and you can also combine those with piano if you really wanted to. And obviously, as we discussed earlier, you can change the priority of the sounds over. So I'm going to fade between the strings and the piano. So you're just changing volumes pretty much to give more piano or more strings as you want. Choir, again, not something I use. So the strings are still turned on. I don't think there's any real benefit in putting those on any tracks if you're ever recording anything, because as I said, this is a 2003 keyboard and those choir sounds are dated now, I really do think. The bass, I've often used this bass just simply on a track if I'm ever recording something very, very quick, just to give a demo. There's a kind of woody bass, like an upright wood double bass, and then you have something more substantial in like a plucked or a fretless bass. So that's pretty much it. You've got transpose, so you just hold down transpose and you value up or value down as required. Same thing with split, you can just change your split point based on where you press the keys. So there's no complex allocation of having to allocate a split point for your first and second instrument, just one touch basically. There are a few hidden sounds as well in the setup. If you press setup, you actually have a few hidden sounds in here. Not bad at all. I mean, there's a few decent ones, like if you go in here and here you have honky tonk piano, which I've often used on songs like Killer Queen, and then on this one here, I can find it because they are hidden away. That one, Paddy. This one's actually decent for something like The Show Must Go On because it is a decent string. So that's that. Again, the rest of them then are like jazz piano. So there you have it. That's a very brief rundown of the Kawai MP9000 digital stage piano. And it's a really sturdy machine. It has been on many gigs and it never failed to start and never failed to give me any output. I know that there's certain keyboards on the market at the moment which do have occasional intermittent startup problems, but this particular machine is really well built. It has, as I said, the hammer action, and that really does give a chance for you, if you are playing, to give a lot more emotion. Obviously other pianos do have that touch capability, but I feel that this particular one has such a range for the age that it is. As I remember, it is 18 years old, and the technology in here must have been state of the art at that time. The one thing I would like to see would be maybe a bit more variation of the instruments. On the Roland that I have, for example, you press concert piano 1 and with the variation button you can click that variation and you would have concert piano 1, concert piano 2, concert piano 3, which would give you different styles. Maybe if you were to look at, for example, the Core Kronos, that has the Berlin Grand, Japanese Grand and Italian Grand, so it would be nice to have something along that in there. Likewise on the strings, it would be nice to have variation, so you would have maybe an orchestral strings, a fast strings, slow strings, tremolo strings, something to show that there's more than just strings. I think the choir sound, the vibe and clavichord, they're all instruments I rarely use because I think they sound dated at this stage, and there's really nothing personally that I would use them for. I do use pretty much the range of pianos, maybe not the mellow one, I think it's too soft for myself. I do like a bright piano. The EPs I do use quite a lot because they are really nice. You have three really good defined electric pianos. You have the 70s, the FM style, and you also have the hammery style. The basses are decent as well, and I have used the organ as well. If you actually use a pedal on the organ, you actually create a tremolo, sorry, not a tremolo, a Hammond organ style for that. So it's really cool to hear that. They actually put in a lot of effort on the organs. They do sound good. So if you have any comments, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and also press the little bell icon and you can be notified of any future videos. I will be doing some more Queen tutorials and some more songs. If you have any requests there coming up, I know I have I Want to Break Free and also Spread Your Wings, that has been requested also, so I will do those very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon on this channel.